Dudley here at Gamble Montessori High School. We're right off of the Work Road entrance, and I am next to Miss Martinez's room. So she is a teacher in our Zenco community, and she wants a little bit of a better view out of her window. We've got kind of a mess going on here. There's like some weeds and some trees starting to grow, but there's a lot of poison ivy right here. Mrs. Dudley is super allergic to poison ivy. I feel like I can just look at it and get bumped. So it's really important for me to know what poison ivy looks like. So today we're going to talk a little bit about plant identification. When you want to identify a plant, you want to make sure that you're taking a really close look at it. You want to take a look at the way the leaves are arranged. You want to notice any flowers or fruits that might be on the plant. The benefit of proper plant identification is that you don't have to be afraid of everything being poison ivy, right? Like, I'm standing in a spot that's safe, but it's because I know exactly what that plant looks like, and so I can steer clear of it if I need to. The first step is to really get up close and personal with the plants. You can't identify a plant from a distance unless you're really good and maybe it's a big plant, maybe. But you've really got to get close. So let's take a look at what we have. Okay, I have picked 3 different leaves from this patch, all right? And I'm gonna take a close look at them to see if they're the same, if they're different. I only took 1 leaf, and it's because I know that I'm going to work in this area, so I'm not just taking leaves and hurting plants willy-nilly. So the first one I have is kind of spiky. This next one is shaped kind of like a heart. And this last one is kind of like a hand. Okay. So I just picked 3 things to look at. Are they the same? No. All right. Looking at all of these closely helps me identify them. Look at the edge on this one. See how it's smooth? This one is very jagged and what we call toothed. And this one, it's got lobes and it's toothed. Okay? So these are all going to be things that I can use to help identify this plant when I'm looking it up, or maybe I'm asking a friend. Maybe I have a plant identification app on my phone, like LeafSnap. iNaturalist is another good one. They're not always correct though, so you would use those to start off your plant identification. If you're going to be eating what you're identifying, you definitely want to make sure that you have that confirmed by at least 3 sources, okay? But yeah, plant ID is very important. So we look at the edge, we look at the shape, we look at how it's growing, and then we're able to come up with an ID. So this is English ivy, okay? And this is what grows all the way up the tops of the buildings. It's kind of hard to get rid of. It is very pretty once it becomes established, but you want to plant this in a place where you're going to want it forever. This one is the start of a tree. I'm not sure if that's a great place for the tree. The roots might become constricted and it wouldn't be able to get all the way up to its full potential. Or it just might create too much shade and shade out all the other plants that we want to grow. This is definitely a weed. It's some kind of leafy, I think it's maybe in the dandelion family, but I'm not sure. This one, I might go on a little bit more of an adventure to research. I have books that I can use, I have friends that I can ask, so I need my resources to pull together and help me identify this one. I told you that I wasn't super excited about working in this part of the garden because of all the poison ivy. So we still haven't talked about what poison ivy looks like. Many of you probably know the rhyme, leaves of 3, let it be. Well, poison ivy is not the only plant that has leaves of 3. And if you're not sure how to identify it, then it can still kind of sneak up on you, right? So we are going to take a look in this area for some poison ivy, and I don't think we're going to have to go far. I'm not going to be touching it, but we will take a look and I'll show you what poison ivy looks like. So here we are looking at quite a lot of different plants, all right? We looked at our English ivy, which is right here. We looked at this little tree, which is growing up right here. And we are also trying to identify some poison ivy. There we go. There's some leaves of 3, 1, 2, 3. And they're kind of clumped. It's kind of up tall. But look at the difference in the color of this leaf compared to this leaf. So those are kind of orange and red, and the one underneath is really dark green. Huh. That's kind of a tricky plant to identify. Here's some more poison ivy. Look at how they're changing colors already for the fall. But they've all got 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. We would call that a compound arrangement. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right. So we've got quite a bit of poison ivy going on over here. It grows in a vine. So these all might be the same plant. It might just be growing up through this English ivy and popping up in all these different places. All right, so it can be a little tricky to identify, but after you take a look at it for a while, I hope that your eyes are able to adjust and really see all of the different things. I hope you enjoyed this really short little plant ID lesson. It's all about observation. It's all about opening your eyes and seeing the signs and the pieces that are being told to you by the plant. Plants do speak to us. We just have to know how to listen. They don't use English or talk to us in French, but they do give us signals and signs. And so if we know how to read them and how to listen to them, then we're able to identify the plant, what it can do, how it needs to be cared for. All of those pieces are really important for gardeners. Thanks for coming over, and I really hope that you're able to identify poison ivy, stay away from it if it bothers you, and if it doesn't bother you, maybe you can be a good helper and remove poison ivy from places so that people like Mrs. Dudley don't get all itchy and rashes all over because, it's not a great plant to have around, especially when you've got an area that has kids.